Tonight, we're probably going to set a new record when it comes to listeners. Our very special guest, Dr. Nirvadha Singh, has 1,233,313 followers on her Facebook. And for the next hour, people around the world are going to be able to listen to us, probably think about what we are saying, and probably even react at some given moment. Dr. Singh is a celebrity. She is a medical specialist, a public health medical specialist. She's a scientist who adds to the quality of life, brings comfort, and cures the various ills of communities, of nations, and of the world. She is regarded to be an ambassador of international proportions. She travels the world trying to heal the ills of entire nations. And yet, it all started in Durban. Doctor, welcome.
Thank you, Farook, for having me here, and good evening and assalamu alaikum to all the listeners. It's such a great opportunity to be here on this magnanimous radio station. Thank you.
You're welcome. Where did your journey start?
You know, as in you, the journey begins. I think every journey begins with a spark within you. And my spark was, it lit when I was a little child. So most of the fire grew from the spark, from childhood experiences.
What was the spark?
Farouk, I grew up in a background where it was a bit of an underprivileged background. We had quite a challenging life, and I always looked beyond to the other side. And I thought to myself, do I still want to stay in this life, or do I want to make a change or difference and move on to the greener pastures of life? But, you know, looking at the greener pastures of life in terms of where I was around me, I was always emotional to the community around me, especially in the underprivileged areas where there was limited access to healthcare, and we used to have frail grannies and little kids that needed healthcare, but obviously couldn't get to healthcare on time because of the infrastructure, because of the poverty, and that is where the light sparked within me. That sort of wanting to understand what's your purpose of existence. And as I grew up in life, I realized that my purpose of existence is not just myself, it's to uplift others, because when you uplift others, you're indirectly uplifting yourself. Because Farouk, let's face it, how many times have we given maybe a sweet to a crying child or helped the old lady across the road? Did that not make you feel any better? Because that is the value of life.
Okay, well, here you are, you're a child, impoverished background. You had to go to a primary school.
Yes.
Then a high school.
Yes.
And then to a university.
Yes.
But you didn't have money.
No, I didn't have any
money. Then how
did
you make this journey?
You know, Farouk, I'm going to tell you a little story from my book, The Journey Begins. When I was a little child, 5 years old, I grew up in this flat in this lower income community, and right across us was this upper income community. And from my flats, every year we could see this beautiful white house that had a tree around Christmas time. It was always lit. And about 13 of us in the neighborhood always wanted a tree. So one day I realized, are we just going to stand and watch that tree across us, or are we going to do something about it? And then I realized that I needed to work to buy the tree, but I didn't have a job. I didn't have money to even get that. So I decided to create something. So I went to a neighbor next door and I said, I'd like to have some seeds to grow my own tree. And she says, well, young girl, you just cannot have the seeds. You have to earn it. And that was my first taste of earning a living, where I had to work during my entire December vacation for 6 weeks in the hot sun. And
how old were you at this time?
About 5.
And where did you work?
in her garden.
Okay.
So she grew a lot of pumpkin and methi and tomatoes
Where
and so
was this?
in Overfort.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
then?
So for every week that I worked for her, she paid me in kind in one seed. And at the end of the holidays, I took these all these seeds and I put it in my pocket and I ran across to the park across us, and I dug a little hole and I put all the seeds in and I covered it. And when I went back to my flat, right from the top, I looked at this park and I thought I'm going to have my tree soon. And then the rain came and thunderstorms and washed the entire seeds away. And along with the rain, as I stood at the window pane, my tears were falling down. And the next morning, my mom came to wake me up and she said, my child, I found something in your jacket. And it was actually one seed. So I took this last seed and I went across and I got the entire kids of the neighborhood together. And together we planted that seed again deep down. We covered it deeper. And that's where I realized the value of teamwork. When you want to do something, to make everybody a part of what you're doing, and it will get done. And towards the end of the next year, our tree started growing, and we decorated it with things we found from within the universe. And that is one of the things I realized, that if you cannot get into a system, you have to create your own. You cannot sit back and complain and say, I cannot do this, I cannot do that. You've got to try. You have to try, and you have to look within the resources around you.
Is the tree still there today?
The tree is the largest tree in the entire neighborhood.
What neighborhood is this?
In Overfort.
Where about?
In Chapel Street.
It's still there in Chapel Street.
Yes.
I'm going to have a look at it. Okay, then you went to high school.
Yes.
Which high school was it?
I was at Overfort Secondary, a lovely high school.
And you excelled?
Yes, it was hard work. At that point in time, I realized that if I want to get anywhere in life, I have to be focused and I have to work hard against all the tides, against all the high tides of life. And that is what I did. There were times at night where we did not have electricity, but we lit candles, and I studied by candlelight. That was light as well. I looked to the past, where the days of my grandparents, they didn't have electricity. They had candles. And I said, if they didn't, there are days when, if we don't have electricity, I will have it in the form of candles. There were days when we just lived on dry bread and tea or water, but that was food. It was sustenance, and I appreciated it. And the most important thing that I kept was faith. Faith in our Creator, faith in the universe, and faith in myself that I can do it.
Okay, university, how did you, where, which, why?
My first university that I attended was the UDW, which is now the Howard College, and that's where I did my Bachelor of Science degree.
Money?
At that point in time, I was accepted at another medical school. However, we didn't have the finances. My mom didn't have the finances to send me across because my mom was a widow when I was merely 3 years old. She had 3 kids and she needed to grow us up. So at that point in time, I didn't have the money to go across, but I attained a scholarship from the university, which offered me the science degree. And that is where I studied my...
Which university was it?
UDW.
Okay, so you went to UDW.
Yes. So I studied my Bachelor of Science, and I majored in microbiology and physiology. And from that, I decided to once again aim to live my passion of wanting to do medicine, because that's ultimately what I wanted to do, was to help people and heal people. And apart from that, that was also my late dad's wishes, to see his child become a doctor, because he always used to see me trying to help people that got a little cut or fell off the bike, and I'd try and assist them back onto the bike. So I just feel very blessed sitting here today that I managed to fulfill it.
So how did you get into medical school, and which one?
So I applied down to a very beautiful medical school called Medunsa. That's at Garankuwa. So if you know where Pretoria is,
yes,
you drive 45 minutes. It's such an amazing university because it's surrounded by valleys, and you wake up in the morning to fresh air. There's not much of a hustle and a bustle of the city life. There There are animals surround on
But
the.
how did you get there? I mean, it takes money to get there.
Well, I applied to the university, and once again, based on my results, which I excelled at my previous university, I managed to get a scholarship and a bursary to go down there.
Okay. And then what did your mother say? It's okay for you to go there?
My mom initially, she was obviously quite sad because I'm her only daughter, and to see your only daughter go up. But then again, she also supported me because she knew that I wanted to make a difference to society. I wanted to help others. And she says, and my entire family till this day will say, if that is your dream to continue to help others, we will support you. So on those
So
grounds,
how many years you spent at...
I studied for 5 years in Medunsa because I had my BSc, my majors in micro and physiology. So I managed to get credited with the first year. And then I went into second year at Medunsa. And I just did anatomy and your other subjects. And then all the way up to sixth year, graduated and into internship into McCord Hospital.
Madam, you must have been a very special young lady. I know Medunsa. I was a reporter in my time.
Is it?
It is probably the toughest medical school in the world. It's unforgiving, it's
is.
rough,
It
it's
is.
tough, and the dangers that exist there is unreal. And you spent 5 years there?
I spent 5 years, and Medunsa shaped me into who I am because Farouk, the curriculum there is very challenging. A lot of
Was
practical.
Dr. Mokokong, I think.
Yes, Professor Mokokong.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he cut his teeth at King Edward VIII Hospital.
Is it okay?
I know the man.
Yeah,
I knew the man. I was a reporter there. And he launched the careers of many young
Yes.
doctors.
And he's such an amazing intellectual personality. I was very fortunate to meet him a few times, and very inspired by him. And a lot of our politicians also came out of this university. So I feel also very blessed to have that experience because sometimes, if you have things too easy in life, you may not learn to appreciate it.
Well, that's
so,
what I mean when I say you were tough. Okay, so you got your degree. What was your next move?
So my next move was I came down to Durban and I did my internship in McCord Hospital for a year.
What was your
And,
salary?
At that time, it must have been about 6,000 rands.
As much as that?
A very meager salary.
Okay.
but 6,000 rands for you're a student and now you've qualified as a doctor, and that was a lot of money, especially for somebody who was from an underprivileged background. But in that first year, a lot of my friends, they used their salaries to buy cars. And I used my salary to do our flat up for my mom. And I had some amazing experiences at McCord Hospital. So I didn't have a car, but, I just felt the universe provided. I had befriended a few taxi people. So they used to, take me along the route. And while in the taxi, they always asking me questions about their blood pressure, their sugar, the go-go's on the taxi. So they all knew that the Dr. Singh is coming into the taxi this time. So we're going to get there in the morning.
Wow, what a relationship, yeah.
And, even the taxi driver, he was so appreciative because of my advice to him in the taxi. He got into hospital early, and he was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And so I became his support structure as well throughout. So I feel blessed because, they say even in the darkness, you have to find light.
Yes.
And so these taxi trips were another experience of my life which shaped me into who I am.
Okay, now then you decided to get into becoming a specialist in public health.
Well, from my internship in McCord Hospital, I went on to do my com service in orthopedics. And my professor in orthopedics honestly thought I'm going to be one of the first women or female orthopedics in the country. the only problem was, orthopedics is an amazing subject, but you just needed that power to stand up onto the theater table and use the jigsaws and the hacksaws and grind away at the hip. So, but orthopedics was such a phenomenon. I learned so much from that. And my Professor Sanochi, if he's listening, he's also another amazing, accomplished intellectual,
yeah.
like Professor Mokokong. And then from there, I headed on into public anesthetics. I did anesthetics for a year, and that also a wealth of experience. And then from there, I went into public health. And I was under the mentorship of two amazing professors. One is Professor Jinavai, Nadi
yes.
Jinavai, absolutely a very intellectual personality, very well renowned in the public health realm. And then Professor Kala Naidu.
Right,
She's
yes.
also very, very well renowned in the.
Where is she now?
Professor Kala Naidu is she's retired. She was actually one of my mentors when I did the disaster management plan for the city for the 2010 FIFA World Cup soccer. So she was one of my mentors there, and it was just very sad to see her leave the department because she was such a wealth of knowledge.
Okay, when did you join the department?
I joined in 2006.
So
in
4
public
years
health.
later, you were now called upon to do the disaster management plan for the World Cup.
For the World Cup soccer, yes. So this 4 years, actually, what it is so when you qualify, especially for those aspiring youngsters out there studying medicine or wanting to do medicine, so public health is very much like your anesthetics or your gynecology or surgery, in the sense that once you finish off your com service, you need to do 4 years into a speciality, and this is one of the specialities as well. So I did my master's in medicine in public health through UKZN, and I've also got a fellowship of public health from the College of Medicine, South Africa. So that is where so in that 4 years I did my public health, and in my final year of public health, that is where I was called upon by the Department of Health to come in and assist and draw up the disaster management plan for the city.
And how long it took you to do that?
It took me about 6 or 7 months to do it. It was a lot of experiences there. I can recall, I think the best experience was I was going to meet with the Surgeon Generals of our country, and so the military was waiting for me, but I was already sitting there. I was sitting there in this pink floral dress, and everybody was still waiting for Dr. Singh to come in. And then the general stood up and said, "Oh, we cannot wait for Dr. Singh any longer. He is very late." And then the secretary said, "No, she is here. She's sitting in the corner in the pink floral dress." So that was, another experience to shape my life.
What were you sitting there quietly? Didn't you announce who you were?
I never announce who I am wherever I go. I just feel that, you have to be humble.
So wait a minute. You went in there and you just told the secretary who you are. Wasn't the secretary's job supposed to alert the people?
Definitely, but
she didn't.
But the lesson behind this is that you should never judge a book by its cover, and you don't need. That was another thing that shaped my life. You don't need to be wearing a pants to be authoritative, to be a leader.
That thought that Dr. Singh was a he?
Oh no, it was one of the generals, in the army, but. It's just naturally expected. It's expected that most powerful
Okay, so when he discovered it was you, what did he say?
Well, everybody had it was a very light-hearted moment. And after that, they said, well, the good thing that came out of the color pink was that I managed to get them to wear ribbons for the Cancer Awareness Month. So they said they all are in pink now. So
I just want to talk a little bit about cancer. There are many women who suffer from breast cancer.
Yes.
And they can't afford the treatment.
Yes.
What happens to them?
Farouk, I think when it comes to cancer, I used to be the ex-governor to the Cancer Association of South Africa. So we've seen a lot of it. We've seen women that couldn't afford healthcare, but we've seen what these NGOs try to do. I mean, to have mobile clinics and to go out into the rural area, people do try to make a difference, regardless of the current health status of our country in terms of resources. There are people out there that will go the extra mile to make the difference. It is sad that some people don't get their chemotherapy and cannot afford it. But I think more resources need to be directed into cancer therapies, but not just cancer. We've got TB, we've got HIV, and Farouk, not just those three. What about hypertension and diabetes? They are also the number one killers as well. They are silent killers. We focus on the other diseases, but we leave the chronic diseases behind, such as your non-communicable diseases. Both should have equal importance, in South Africa and globally. But I wish they could be, health should be prioritized anywhere around the world. So and when it comes to health, especially with women and cancer, you need to be very quick about diagnosing yourself. So you need to understand your body and know the early symptoms of cancer. Even if you don't know the early symptoms of cancer, if you feel that that continuous tiredness and fatigue, and if you feel that you have a lump in your body that's not supposed to be there, whether it's in your breast, whether it's on your back, because you do have lipomas and misdiagnosis there, or if you feel there's a sore that's not healing, high temperatures, you need to start thinking something is wrong with you. Don't leave things too late. Yes, we'll be happy that you went to your doctor, nothing is wrong. But the saddest part is that there are many that actually just ignore it, thinking there's nothing wrong. Or there's this community of thinking that I'm too afraid to find out what's wrong with me. And that mindset needs to change. We need to take charge of our health. And we need to understand our body, and we need to say, this is the only body we have in this lifetime that we're living. Let's do something about it. Let's make a difference, because we are breadwinners of our families. We have loved ones to support. So we need to take charge of our health and look after ourselves. But how many people put themselves first, especially women? Women are busy at home, busy as home executives, busy being mothers, being taxi drivers, being school teachers, being guidance counselors, being chefs, being everything. But the most important thing that they need to be is their own best friend.
Okay. From there, you then became something of a globetrotter. You extended yourself serving the people in different countries. How
Yes.
did that come about?
I always, you want to say hi to all the the Facebook fans
Hi.
that are just looking
Yes.
in. So this is Farouk, and we live on Radio Al Ansar, and we're happy to have you all here listening in on him, and hope you can watch all his shows in the future as well.
Thank you very much. Welcome to everybody. Greetings and salutations. Okay, madam, then tell me about your globetrotting now.
Yeah. So when I finished off my studies at Mudunsa, I went across down to India, and I went into this rural village. And for the 3 weeks that I was there, I stayed in this village just beyond Delhi in Haryana. And I served in this primary care clinic and in a school. I taught a bit of volunteeringly. I taught English, and I also assisted as in terms of in the primary care volunteer towards patients in this primary clinic. And I just, I think the poverty and the malnutrition really touched my heart, But India is such a beautiful country. It has two sides. It has that, and it has also a very beautiful side to it. And to think that a country can coexist with both sides being so beautiful is just phenomenal and amazing. I simply love the country, and given the opportunity, I would like to go back there again someday and assist. But like I said, it really touched me. It touches me, especially poverty surrounding women and children. When you see our women go out there with carrying these heavy rocks on their head and working on the roads, building roads, and your heart goes out to them, because I've had challenges. And then you look at somebody else and you think, imagine the physical hardships that they are going through. this just humbles you and makes you a better person. And Farouk, it makes you appreciate even the dry bread and water you had. You know, if you look at the lifestyle that some people live out there, not just in India's one, Ethiopia. I went to the Ethiopia in 2012, and I presented at the World Congress, and that is also another country which touched me, to see the poverty there. But in that poverty, you see the glimmer of hope in these people's eyes, and that actually, you know, fuels you with hope again, to think that they appreciate the tiny things that they are getting. We should also do the same. We should also appreciate what we have in life and use it to the best of our ability and make the most of life. And
Do you think we're doing that in South Africa?
I think yes. I see people doing this in South Africa, but I also think there is that community of people that need to get onto the bandwagon and need to say, you know, I need to stop complaining and I need to do my best, because I have a brain, I can think. There are resources around me. If there are no resources around me, then create resources, create your own system, and try and do something to the best of your ability. And Farouk, you do not need any money to help others if you really want to help. There are many ways of helping people. You can go and join in, like I said, the Cancer Association. You can volunteer your assistance. You can go out into outreach programs. There's the TB hospitals. There are feeding centers for cerebral palsy children where you can go and help assist feed the kids. There's the old age home where you can do so much of charity. There's so much that you can do, but because in giving back to others, you will get back into yourself as well. The universe works
now,
in that
you
way.
are just not a doctor, you are regarded to be an ambassador of international proportion.
Yes.
How did that come about?
So, Farouk, I was also very touched and honored by India, by Rajasthan. Well, Rajasthan is actually my paternal dad's birthplace, from Jaipur, and my maternal dad, he is from Bihar. So I was touched when I did receive an email to present at a World Congress in India, in Palani.
What year was this?
This was in 2013.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Rajasthan is an absolutely beautiful and colorful a country.
Is that where they have the pink city or something?
Yes, the pink city is there as
Okay.
well. It's really beautiful. Architecture is it's breathtaking, and the people there, the people are absolutely humble and down to earth, and very hardworking. So I went up to present a seminar on peace, and when I was up there presenting the seminar on peace, there were a lot of dignitaries and politicians and religious goers and other international personalities at the seminar. And when I was there, I was very surprised to be conferred this title of Ambassador of World Peace, in which in India they call it Shanti Dut, a peace messenger. And my understanding is that they looked at all the work that I have been doing throughout, and I have always taken every opportunity in all my work, in all my campaigns, in all my outreach programs, in all the NGO work that I've done, the volunteer work. I've looked for every opportunity to always try and introduce peace into my work and into healthcare, whether it is into my writing, into the community, whether it is into my actual operational work that I've done on ground level with cancer or with TB patients. Always peace, because peace, if you are at peace within yourself, then you can be at peace to your outside environment as well. So inner peace begins within you.
How
And
do you get that inner peace?
we live in the society of a hustle and bustle, a daily routine, an 8 to 5 job, almost like a robot every day. But we need to slow down a bit, stop, and tell yourself, I need to have at least 20 minutes of the day to myself. Have a bit of silence around you. Sit in a room, reflect upon yourself, reflect upon the day. And you'll be surprised how much that silence within the room can be healing to you, because it helps you. You know, when the mind is still, the mind becomes very clear and focused. Also, you know, sometimes we do a lot of things which involves noise. At times it's very nice to do things like long walks in the park, in a garden, on a beach. So these things are very important to help heal you, because the universe is very healing, and we have these resources within the universe. Some people out there in this 8 to 5 corporate world, I would ask them, when did you last stop to smell a rose? Do you know what it smells like? Do you know what the smell of fresh sea is? Do you, Farouk? Do you?
Yes, I do.
See, so you're already at interface with yourself.
Well, I mean, I walk. All right, just let go. Where did this business about writing come from? Your book. Tell us about the book.
I started writing, Farouk, from the age of about 5 or 6. I always liked
You started
writing.
early, huh?
I loved writing poetry. I've got a poetry book that I've written when I was 6 years old. I've still got my poems all in this little book. And I used to write plays for my school. And then I went on to write plays as a child for other orphanages. And at university, I wrote a play as well. So my writing, began there. And then I thought one day, let me take my writing somewhere else to make a difference as well. Apart from making a difference to the orphanage and to the old age homes in the play productions, I went on to, I started off my own online health magazine called The Health Chronicle. And I became the health editor. I wrote for the community. I got a group of doctors on board who also wrote for the community as well. So for the first time ever, the community had direct access to specialists writing on for this magazine. And it was truly amazing. I'm so grateful to even have these doctors, oncologists.
Is it still going on?
No, the Health Chronicle had come to an end, and it had been taken over by another doctor who's currently got plans for this magazine and for this online website. And then from there, from the Health Chronicle, I went on to writing my first book. That's where my authorship came in, You, the Journey Begins. So I took the entire, my personal and professional experiences into You, the Journey Begins. Just by the way, apart from writing for the Health Chronicle, I've also written for the Satyagraha. That's Dr. Ella Gandhi.
Yes.
It was their magazine at the Gandhi Development Trust. That's where I also infused my piece into healthcare. And I also wrote for a magazine, a newspaper across in India called the Daily Kashmir Reporter. So I used to write a lot of health articles there to uplift the community, to uplift the women and children, to make them understand more about healthcare, about their bodies, about the do's and don'ts of what is good in life for themselves and their children, about healthy eating, healthy exercising. So that's the sort of writing that I undertook.
Okay, and then you started writing movies.
And yes, then I started doing, the first, we are currently involved in 3 movies. One is a short film. It's a mystery drama, of which...
Shot where?
It's shot here in Durban. And the executive producer of that happens to be an acting coach of mine. She's very much tied up with Hollywood as well. And we've got also a very nice director on board. He's also been involved with Hollywood projects as well, such as Mama Jack. And he was also involved with Mr. Bones. So that's quite a nice project that's still being shot. The shooting is ongoing.
And you wrote the script?
I assisted in writing the script. There's a team of us, the project team. We all wrote it together. But I was the script editor for this project. And then the other 2 projects are 2 feature films. One is a medical drama, and the other one is an action comedy. On board on this, we got such an amazing team on board, because, like, for me, the script is the most powerful part of a movie, because if you get the foundation right, the first time, the entire movie just builds on it. So just to mention a bit about our production team, we have a diverse group of individuals. We have Veronica van der Riet, who's our script supervisor. She's been involved a lot in script writing for many other projects. And then we've got Yashodhara Maraj. She's a speech and drama teacher, but she's also acted in that movie Highway Sheila that was on our local movie. And then we have Alex Lagatsis and Eve Zambu. They've also had background skills from Hollywood movies as well, where they acted in these movies. And one of the chairmen of our action drama feature film, he's a mathematician, Nishal Singh, and so he's well, hopefully with him being the mathematician, we can drive this movie well into marketing. So this is where both the scripts are being simultaneously shaped. And, I'm also part of the script writing team. And to be honest with you, Farouk, it's not that one day I got up and I said, I'm going to write a script. Because throughout my life, I realized you've got to learn and acquire skills in order to move forward. You have to empower yourself all the time. And learning is an everyday occurrence. We learn every day. So I went out there and I studied script writing, and I was very fortunate enough to graduate with a certificate from the Writers Guild of South Africa, and under the auspices of Ben Johnson. He's actually a very phenomenal script writer. He's written a lot of projects for Generations and Mbewu, the current Mbewu. So I'm very fortunate to be around such skilled people. And we just hope with this mind-blowing script, the two scripts, which are very much in keeping with my profession, because not to release too much, I'm sure my production team are listening, so forgive me, but it's just both movies have are underpinned on public health issues. That's the most I can give away right now.
Okay.
Because that's exactly what I wanted to do. To take public health, take my profession to make a difference to the community. Even if you're making a comedy, what's the difference can I make? For me, that's my personal take on life. So I'm very fortunate to have these two platforms in these feature films, to utilize it to make a difference to society through these movies as well.
Okay. Now, are they in production yet? Or?
No, they're just in the final stages of script.
So you must be. Are you planning to write more?
Definitely, yes.
Okay, sticking with the theme of writing, Facebook.
Yes.
1,333,313 people. How did you get there?
I think it's 1.2, and I just hope nobody fell off to sleep. Hi again. We're talking about you guys. Hey.
Okay.
I see a little blue sign coming up.
What does that mean?
That means they just liked something, and
okay.
fans just like it, and followers. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you get that? Tell me this journey.
Look, can I be honest with you, Farouk? It's 1.2 million, but I keep realizing it's 1.2 million because I have such a brilliant brand manager, Shital Cross. She's so amazing. She's so dynamic. She's also very enthusiastic and driven, career driven and passionate about things. And
she's right here.
She's right here in the studio with us. So she constantly reminds me that. But to be honest, I sometimes don't look at what the numbers are, because
no, it's important to me that you got. How is it possible that you got there?
Look, most of it is through my work. A lot of it is through my work and the advice that I give. I mean, how often do you find medical doctors coming online, coming live, and educating and empowering the community about their health? Apart from that, inspiring the community, because it's not just talking about your cancer or HIV or TB. Farouk, we tend to dissociate health. For me, health is the definition of health is a state of biological, psychological, social, and spiritual well-being. Holistically, that forms health. So we can talk about somebody, and we can tell them, if a patient is diabetic, and we want the patient to take their medication every day, but they need to be inspired to take it every day. Yeah, they need to understand their diet.
Day one, you started your page, you probably had 2 or 3 people on it. After a week, you got 10, 15. After a month, you got 100,000. How did it grow like that?
Well, I'm waiting for your like on the page. When am I going to see you
I was
comment?
told that you had more people on the page than Trevor Noah. How would you know you like my? How would you know
I'm
it's
trying
me?
to find your page.
But how would you know that I liked your page?
Well, you'll have to tell me. You'll have to say, I've got my phone in the front, and you'll have to say, I've just clicked your page, or even comment on the video afterwards when it's up,
But
so I can
this
see
must
you.
put you in a very privileged position to be able to communicate with so many people.
You know, like I said, Farouk, I'm very blessed because look at the way we're sitting here. I'm sitting with you, chatting with you, and we're talking about such empowering information. And then it's being shared across the world right now because you must remember social media and the digital platform is a very powerful tool of relaying messages in the shortest space of time ever. So this is what it's all about. It's about sharing. It's about empowering others. It's about using social media in the right manner.
Yeah, but madam, I just want to point out.
Yes.
I think the real success story here is talking pictures.
Is it? Okay.
The pictures that talk.
Pictures.
Pictures that
Yes.
talk.
Yes.
Isn't that what it's all about? That's
A
what social.
picture says 1,000 words.
No, that may be so, but your pictures talk. You talk to people.
Yes.
They see your picture, and
Yes.
that picture talks to them.
Yes.
And they probably talk back to you as well.
Yes, they do. There's a very engaging.
This must be a great gift.
Very well. You can see already as there's a lot of messages going up as we speak. So I'll be very honest. I'm also blessed to have such a good following. I really love you guys. I love you all because the following they become like family to me, and they're very interactive. They're very highly engaging. They want to know what's going on. They want to know about life. They want to know about healthcare. So I'm very fortunate to reach out to this family across the world. Through this
And what
powerful
you say
platform.
now is very important.
It's very
because
important.
it could influence them.
Yes, it could influence somebody. It could influence somebody's life to make them more positive in life, to be inspired, to have the faith to continue every day. Because you have a lot of people that want to give up too easily, but they need to find that courage and strength to continue. And that is what the platform does. The message out there is a message of hope. It's a message of courage to inspire people to continue and never give up on your dreams. Never give up on what you want to be and what you perceive that you want to be. And there's always, the universe will always be there to assist you, but you have to take that first step.
Madam,
have to.
I just want to say something and then I want to hear your view on this. You know, the choices we make
Yes.
determines our destiny.
Yes.
You go along with that?
Farouk, even in my book, You, the Journey Begins, I always believe there is a micro destiny and a macro destiny. The macro destiny is something that's beyond our control at times, life and death, as we all know it. It's the universe, the creator, that entity is in charge of that in the macro destiny. But in your micro destiny, you have a mind, you can think, so you can make choices in life. But sometimes those choices are blurred only because one is not focused. And that is where the book comes about, which helps you focus and which gives you that creative, unlocks a creative potential within you to assist you into the right path, into the direction that you wish to go into.
Okay, this is very confident of you saying that. I haven't heard so much inspiration coming for a long time in modern day South Africa.
Thank you so
You
much.
really think we're going to get it right?
Yes, I always believe light is always greater than darkness. Farouk, if you look at the moon, even in the night sky, the moon shines the brightest and gives us light. I believe in South Africa, we have a lot of good, positive spirit, not just in South Africa, but throughout the world. There's a lot of positive inspiration coming from people around us. And we just have to give that opportunity to grow, and we will grow globally. And there will be a brighter future, but we have to believe in it first.
Well, with so many people leaving the country, especially bright young people, that kind of thing, I, for one, am very concerned and worried.
Look, Farouk, a lot of people will be leaving the country, but I'll be very honest with you, a lot of people are coming in as well. So it's people's choices in life, where they want to go, where they want to work, where they want to live, how they perceive the world. My choice when I was a child growing up was a very, very difficult choice. Do I stay in, or do I continue, or do I stay and make a difference? And that's the key thing, because if you stay and make, you don't give up on do you give up on your family?
No.
If the times are tough, you don't. You work hard at something. But equally, we also can't disregard the fact that people also leave for other reasons. They maybe have families beyond. The climate may be nicer, the opportunities may be great. But at the end of the day, people are coming in as well. And we must just always be hopeful and look at the positive things in life.
You see,
We always tend to, it's human nature. It's human nature as well. And, we will remember, we will forget about the 99 positive, happy memories, but we'll hold on to the one sad thing in life.
Okay.
So
Now
we need
that
to
you
just
said that-
perceptions
now
need to
that
change.
you said that, what is your one happiest memory?
My most happiest memory is the ability to fulfill my destiny of love and life, in the sense that there was a little child suffering from leukemia at Medunsa. I will call her Lerato for the sake of confidentiality.
Okay.
And I had been in my final year of pediatrics. And Lerato, she was a 7-year-old child. And she said, one day she called me and she said, "Doc, I have never seen the beach. I want to know how it looks." So I thought maybe I will come back home and take a picture for her. But when I came back home, I went to the vendors at the beachfront and I bought a seashell. So when I got back to Medunsa after the vacation was over, I went to Lerato and I put the seashell next to her ear. And I said, "What can you hear?" She says, "Doc, you brought the sea to me." And she just continued listening to the seashell for the next 2 or 3 days. And about 4 days later, she passed on in the morning with the seashell next to her ear and looking out at the window at the sunshine. That was my most happiest memory, because with something so tiny, I managed to make a difference to somebody who was dying. And that thought has stayed within me throughout. And that is why I say, if you can uplift others, you are indirectly uplifting yourself and making a difference to yourself.
And you're going to use pictures that talk.
Yes.
Now that you said that, there's a movie in South Africa doing its round called Mayfair.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen the movie.
I haven't seen it as yet, though I definitely want to find the time and see it. I've heard a lot of good things about the movie. Apart from Mayfair, there's a lot of good South African movies coming onto the market now. And I think we need to support our local movies.
Do you know the people who made this movie?
Some of the producers I don't know personally, but I have managed to meet other producers. Example, Bianca Isaacs from 3 Days to Go. She's such a phenomenal woman, very amazing, and a lot of talent. There's a lot of creativity in our movie industry. We've got a very young movie industry, but with time, it's going to shape. But and some of the factors that can shape it is our community itself, to support our local artists, to support our local movies, and to make that difference to them.
Do you think that it could become a major job producer?
Yes.
The movie industry.
Yes, actually, being a producer is one of the major jobs. A lot of people take it very seriously, and production is their mainstay of work.
Okay.
So
We're talking about job, but let's talk a little bit about money. Bitcoin, do you have an interest in that?
No.
Do you know what's it all about?
no, and I'm more fixated on community, on life, on the sea, on things like that. That's what inspires me.
Trevor Noah says that,
uh,
Bitcoin is the future, and he's inviting South Africans
But
to...
what about your future? You can think about so many other people's future. And that's what I always say. What about your own path? How are you inspiring yourself to move forward? There's so many innovations and such creative things happening around the world. But our South African people, and so not just South Africans, Durban, you've got so much of talent, innovation. What are you going to bring to the table next? Just always be hopeful, be confident about yourself, in your product, in your self esteem that you can do it. So I think it's very important that we look at ourselves as a country and as a city of innovation. Well, Durban was announced the literacy capital of the world, and so authors, I'm looking forward to read so many books by all our authors. I think your book is also coming up soon.
Yeah, but madam,
which we're looking forward to.
there's a great disappointment there because the city hasn't reached to the occasion. I mean, they have this great accolade, being a city of literature. That isn't evident.
But at the end of the day, for example,
We need a Dr. Singh.
thank you so much. Thank you. It really touches me that you feel that way, that the listeners feel that way, that the Facebook community, the social media community. In fact, this inspiration from all of you gives me inspiration to continue doing my
Madam,
work.
hardly. Okay, what's your next big move?
Well, beyond the movies, there's I have plans for moving forward. Like I said, I'm so happy now to have Titanium Media SA managing my brand. So brand management is my next step out there now. So I'm confident and I'm hopeful that it's going to be also successful as all my other projects, not just because of who I am or what I do, but because I've got a good team that's managing this. So
Okay.
that is.
What about new medicines? Would you be interested in that?
Farouk, if you look at it on the flip side of the coin, there are new diseases also every day. So we need new medicines. Apart from new medicines, if you look at antibiotic resistance, simple antibiotics are not doing their job anymore because people are overusing and abusing antibiotics. So there's always a space for new medication. If you look at our tuberculosis, we have not just multiple drug resistant TB, you got your XDR TBs, your extreme drug resistant TBs. There's always a scope for new medication because.
Do you think some of these medications might be developed in outer space?
In outer space.
In the International Space Station. They
You
say
mean-
in weightlessness, it separates chemicals, it breaks down things.
Okay.
Do you think there's a scope there?
Look, when it comes to medication or anything, if you look at the way we progressed in life, in the past, we did not have motor vehicles, and now we are driving motor vehicles. I recall one time in Medunsa, I wanted to make a phone call to my mum, and I had to walk to use the call box to phone her and call her and say, Mom, I'm fine, I'm okay today. And today, what do we have? We have cell phones. We wrap our lives around our cell phones, our messages. And we didn't have aeroplanes in the past. We had horse and wagons. And now we have supersonic jets with triple deckers that are flying, from one end to the other end. So the future is unpredictable, but the future is full of possibilities. It depends what we want to use the future for, how we want to harness it. But there's no point in talking about the future if we cannot shape our present. We have to shape the present, strengthen the present. And this present someday will become a past and will head into the future.
I hear
That's
what
what I
you say.
believe.
Now, you are a thought leader.
If that's what you want to call me, thank you.
Okay.
Hearing
Yes.
it from the great Farook Khan, I
I don't know
appreciate
about
it.
great, but you are a thought leader. It is going to be very interesting, and I'm sure many people around the world, including the people that are going to be watching to see what you do. Because some of the greatest thoughts come from individuals. In South Africa, I haven't met too many people who can speak on the level you can.
Thank
so you're a
you.
gifted
I
somebody.
really appreciate it. Thank you so
No,
much.
you don't have to thank me, but do you spend any particular time working out new thoughts?
All the time. I'll be honest with you. My mind is a hub of thoughts. I'm sitting here and I'm still thinking. You know, I think that is the most beautiful part about the human mind. When they say the human mind is more powerful than a computer, I wish to point out to the listeners across an Al Ansar and to the Facebook following there that it is true. You cannot replace a computer with the human mind. There is no end to creativity. Creativity is in abundance, but you need to be inspired, to continue. So my inspiration comes a lot from the universe. It comes from my experiences, from people. I'm continuously thinking all the time. So you've mentioned now about the future plans, and my mind is already working about the brand management. So thoughts are already being created as we speak. Okay, so tomorrow or Monday I'm meeting Shital. What's the next thing on our agenda that we're going to discuss? What's our strategic plan forward? So all of these, these new thoughts come. What's my next book about? you know because the journey begins is just one of a 5-part series. The second one coming up is you the discovery. So what's my next thoughts on that? What is it that I want to share with the community, to share with people, to help them in their life? Because I just believe you don't just say something or write something just for yourself. Well, you can. But what difference would that make to the world if you don't share knowledge, you don't share your thoughts, you don't inspire people? I've got another amazing story to tell. When I had been at McCord Hospital, I had taken a taxi to the beach one day, and I sat in over there, and I just wrote a message on the sand, and there was a lady who was walking past, and she had tears in her eyes, and she stopped. She just stopped to read that message, and I didn't know she was reading it, and it was in the sand. Never give up hope, and she saw the message written in the sand. It was just a thought that I had at that point in time to do it. And she saw it, and she was inspired by it. Here's somebody sitting on the sand here with a stethoscope around her neck, writing "Never give up." What is going on? So these are the thought processes that continue.
Did she say anything to you?
All I knew was that she was very sad, that something had happened to her. What it was, I don't know. But she did say one thing, is that she felt that, a message reached out to her from the writing in the sand. We all make a difference somewhere in somebody's lives. And she felt that was the coincidence where she saw the writing, "Never give up." And she will never give up on whatever it was. So that's a part of the book, the message to go out to the readers, to the community, positive, hopeful messages, not just stories that we read every day that actually dampen our spirits, but positive, hopeful, courageous thoughts that will help empower us and give us that kickstart to want to continue with that passion and that zest for life. When you wake up in the morning, you say, it's a beautiful blue sky Durban midday with the sunshine wrapping your heart. Or you wake up and it's raining, and then you say, oh, why do you say oh? Rather say, it's a beautiful Durban midday with the rain clouds immersing my heart.
Okay.
This is how you see the world.
What's your third book about then?
So I'm thinking it as we speak.
Okay.
This is a thought going in. So Farook had spoken about something now. So here's a thought. What's my third book going to be about?
Because you got another 2 more. Then, of course, the big book has to come, which would be your biography. At what age do you think you'll be able to write your biography?
That only time can tell.
Well, look, you got a whole life ahead of you, but writing biographies has become essential, especially for our community.
Yes. Look, Farook, given the opportunity someday, if it's destined that I'm in this position to have my biography, then I'll be blessed with that. So that is a new thought you've given to me. Thank you very much again.
You're welcome.
There's a lot of inspiration coming from Farook today. We should be interviewing you.
No, really. Have you ever thought about that?
The thought has, crossed my mind now and then, but not very strong, because I think to complete this this You the Journey Begins project. That is one of the on my to-do list, on my list of priorities. And once that is under my belt, then I will continue with whatever else there is, because we have to prioritize ourselves in life. It's very important.
Okay, now what I want to say is, but you will continue with your career in medicine, you'll continue with your career in writing, you'll continue being a celebrity. Hopefully you will have 10 million people on Facebook. What's left for you then?
Farouk, it's not about the numbers of people that touch me. I don't look at numbers. It's about the hearts of people. And
Okay,
to
10
know
million hearts.
whether it's 10 million hearts, or whether it's 1 million, or whether it's one heart,
That's
if
too
we
late
can
for one
make
heart. You already excess
when
of
you
a
make
million.
a difference to somebody, that's the focal part, is when you make a difference and you interact with people. And that's what I enjoy doing. I enjoy interacting with people. I enjoy also learning from people, because learning is a two-way thing. It's not just you sitting here, you have all this knowledge and you don't wish to grow. You grow when you learn from others as well. You can pick up things from the elderly. You can pick up little things from children. Children are one of the most innocent, humble souls you can pick up things from. They're so happy. If a child is crying and you just give him a little a sweet or a candy, and his face will just light up. Try doing that with your girlfriend. You probably will have to go into, may just have to go in to buy her the best cosmetics on the market. Or anybody's girlfriend.
Okay, before we take our leave, is there a special message you have for the young people?
Oh, I have tons of messages, but I think the most important two messages. One is, reach for the skies and you will touch the stars. Never ever give up on your dreams. And the other one is, once you believe, you can achieve. But in this belief, you have to believe in yourself first. Before others believe in you, believe in yourself. Keep that confidence, keep that faith, and let that light within you spark to become a greater flame someday.
That's the first one. What's the second one?
That was the second one.
Looks like I missed the first one. Well, I always say, who wants to reach the stars anyway when you can own the sky? Well, I see you got a different take on it.
It's perceptions at the end. It's how you perceive. And the other thing, okay, well, let's do the second one. It's perceptions. Always approach every situation in a positive manner, regardless of the situation. Because in every circumstance in life, look for the good, and you'll find good, and you'll be able to resolve issues, and you'll be able to be more confident in yourself and uplift yourself.
Okay, Doctor, our time is up. I am looking forward to you coming back into the studio so we can chat even further.
Thank you so much,
I want
Farouk.
to thank you and thank all your viewers on Facebook. Greetings. I wish you all well, and I hope you grow from strength to strength. And
Thank you so
I
much.
am sure that there is a mutual development program that's going on there. But this has been very enlightening. Sheetal, I thank you very much.
Oh,
Madam,
thank you for the
thank
for the
you.
listeners at this hour of the night in Durban and across the world
This
listening.
is prescribed listening time in Durban,
I really
especially on a Friday
appreciate
night.
and thank Farouk. Thank you so much. My humble gratitude for having me here. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you, madam. God bless you. May you be guided. May you be protected. And may every step you take be lighter. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. Wa alaikum salam.